35 years after the hostage crisis at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, President Obama now says he will not rule out one day reopening that embassy. The president told NPR, quote, "If we can get a deal on making sure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon, if Iran recognizes that it is in its own interests, having already said that, they're actually not interested in developing a nuclear weapon, to go ahead and prove that to the world so that over time, as it's verified, sanctions are removed, their economy begins to grow, they're reintegrated into the international community. If we can take that big first step, then my hope would be that would serve as the basis for us trying to improve relations over time." Let's get some thoughts on this from Fred Fleitz. He's a former senior analyst with the CIA and senior fellow with the Center for Security Policy. Many of us remember what happened in 1979, the sight of our diplomats and Marines and so forth being paraded around with blindfolds on at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. Is it seriously time to be talking about reopening that embassy, Fred?
John, it's good to be here. I'm very disturbed by the president's comments. First of all, we're nowhere near considering such a step. Iran is still a state sponsor of terror. It's backing the Assad regime. Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei said only last month, well, he issued a plan only last month on how to destroy the state of Israel. But concerning the nuclear deal, this deal will not significantly affect Iran's nuclear weapons program in any way. In fact, it locks in an Iranian capability to make multiple nuclear weapons. I don't understand how this somehow would give Iran a clean slate so the United States could open diplomatic relations with it.
You say they already have enough nuclear material to build nuclear weapons if they have the technology.
Iran currently has enough reactor-grade uranium to make 8 nuclear weapons. 8 nuclear weapons. It could do that in less than 4 months, possibly in as little time as 2 months. What's been agreed to in the nuclear talks so far has locked in Iran's capability to make multiple nuclear weapons. And the reason for this, John, is I believe the Obama administration has sided with a number of experts at Brookings and Georgetown and Columbia University that since an Iranian nuclear weapon can't be prevented, the best we can do is manage it. In fact, I think we are conceding the bomb to Iran because the Obama administration thinks it can't stop it and it's desperate for a deal.
But the president has said that he was not going to permit the Iranians to get the bomb.
Well, I know what the president has said, but I also know that we have been offering Iran the capability of operating up to 8,000 uranium centrifuges. We're not insisting that Iran stop construction on a plant that will be a source of plutonium. We're not insisting that Iran remove all of its enriched uranium from the country. So we have on one hand the president saying we won't let Iran get the bomb, but these enormous concessions which ensures it will get the bomb. I see a parallel between Cuba and Iran. The president would not concede even to the Democratic chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He was going to normalize relations with Cuba because that was politically unacceptable. We're also pursuing a politically unacceptable outcome with Iran.
Meantime, Republicans in the U.S. Senate, and they will hold the levers of power in that chamber in the new Congress, Republicans are saying they want to vote on increased sanctions against Iran. So if the president is on the one hand holding out this carrot and Republicans in the Senate are saying we're going to increase the sanctions, who wins?
Republicans and Democrats in Congress are watching what's happening with these nuclear talks, and they're very disturbed. They realize letting Iran keep all this nuclear technology, but it doesn't give up anything in exchange, is very dangerous. And I think there is strong bipartisan support for putting strong sanctions on Iran. My organization, the Center for Security Policy, believes these talks must stop. The United States has to go back to the drawing board with its allies to tell Iran, comply with all UN Security Council resolutions, stop enriching uranium, and get rid of all your enriched uranium stockpile. That has to be the bare minimum for a deal.
I'm supposing that you probably heard Ambassador Bolton in that sound clip we played before the break, who said that he thinks it's the wrong approach to be, talking about the possibility of reopening diplomatic relations, reopening an embassy in Tehran, before Iran has lived up to its obligations under these agreements.
The ambassador is exactly right. By making a statement like that, we're telling the Iranians they can squeeze more concessions from us. Many people have been wondering, well, we've made all these concessions to the Iranians so far. Why isn't there a deal? I actually think there are some hardliners in Iran who never want a deal, but I also think there are some who believe that there's no reason why they can't continue to hold out, because as long as they hold out, we keep making more concessions. And I think that's what the ambassadors are arguing, and I agree with them.
Fred Fleitz, a former CIA analyst. Fred, thank you for your thoughts.
Good to be here.